distinguished personalities on this conference. This is the Inspector General of Police. My name is Adegboruwa. The reason for this meeting is as a result of a letter received from the chambers of Adegboruwa, sir, notifying the Inspector General of Police of the intention of his group to stage a protest and rallies and processions. I had earlier press briefing where I gave guidelines to be followed by different groups that want to stage a protest. As distinguished Nigerians, I know that we are all committed to the peace of Nigeria. We don't want anything that will disrupt the peace of our country. We don't want elements that will come and destabilize our country. And there is need for us to come together to agree on the way to go with respect to the threat of protest that we have been getting everywhere. As the Nigerian police, we're in possession of credible intelligence indicating that some elements are planning to cause violent disruption of the peace of Nigeria. And it is important for us to recognize this and accept that, whether we like it or not, some people really want violence. We have history of violent protests in Nigeria. And we know that from experience, that every violent protest has been followed by violent crimes. Like we witnessed during the NSAS protests in Lagos especially, where police stations were burnt down, and those police stations that were burnt down, their armories were also looted, arms went into wrong hands, criminals became stronger. We also had situations where public infrastructure were destroyed, worth trillions of naira, where private businesses were looted and destroyed. We recorded job losses in several thousands. That is not good for our economy. I don't think we want a repeat of that today. We all know that we are operating a very fragile economy presently. And anything that will destroy that fragile economy will set us back. That is the reason why I believe that as committed Nigerians who believe in our country, we should come together, discuss ways of ventilating our angers, ways of ventilating our grievances against government, rather than going violent. So that's the reason for this meeting. I will immediately after this meeting communicate with the respective commissioners of police to take charge of the protest groups that will come out on the day that has been indicated in the letter. So I thank you for honoring our invitation to this meeting. I had wanted a physical meeting where we can be more honest with ourselves and talk face to face and tell ourselves the gospel truth. But since this is the platform that we have, we will make do with this, and we will see how best we can make use of this platform to ensure that whatever protest that is going to be staged will be peaceful. So I thank you very much. I want to specially recognize my Uncle Femi Falana. I thank you for joining this conference.
Thank you very much.
I thank you, sir, for all the support that you've given to me personally, being your younger brother. And
thank you, sir,
for honoring this invitation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me stop here for now, and let's get comments from other distinguished Nigerians who are on this conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Inspector General of Police. We are being led in this meeting by our leader, Mr. Falana, So I'd like to yield the floor to him to anchor the meeting on our behalf. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Inspector General of Police and my colleagues. We are happy to have this meeting with your good self, particularly having regards to your public statement on this planned protest, which has recognized the right of Nigerians to protest. And accordingly, you have instructed your officers to take charge and ensure that the rallies are peaceful. I think that is number one. Number two is to recall that on 2 occasions during your tenure, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have threatened to hold rallies, and even in spite of the statement credited to the Attorney General of the country that such rallies were illegal, and tried to reach out to you as the Inspector General of Police that under the law, your duty is to ensure that adequate security is provided for protesters in line with Section 83, subsection 4 of the Police Establishment Act of 2020. And on both occasions, we work together and ensure that we communicated to your office the days of the protest and the protest grounds or where the protests were going to take place. One, when the NSA had the protest in solidarity with ASU, and also when the NSC also went on strike against economic hardship in the country. On both occasions, no incident, no violence was recorded anywhere in the country because your men ensured that protesters were protected as required by the law. And I think this is the basis of the letter written to your good self by my colleague, Adegboruwa, SAN. It was not for police permit, which has been declared illegal. It is to indicate that some Nigerians have contacted him that they would like to have a protest, and therefore your cooperation would be required. Now that we have been assured once again this afternoon that the rallies will be monitored by the police, and I think with the collaboration of the organizers of the protest, we should be able to have a hitch-free protest. I can tell you this. Personally, I've taken part in protests for not less than 40 years. And on no occasion did the organizers of protests set out to cause mayhem or carnage, as we witnessed, unfortunately, in 2020. In 2012, and this you can Google, about 12 people were killed in what was a very peaceful protest. And I think it is important for all of us to know what happened in 2020, which is very unfortunate. For 2 weeks, the young people had their protests, and the entire world, including the United Nations Secretary General, commended the peaceful nature of the protests. Unfortunately, in Abuja and Lagos, thugs, some of them were known, unleashed violence on the protesters. They were overpowered, but nothing happened. Again, unfortunately, it was the violence that was introduced, particularly when soldiers killed protesters, unarmed protesters, that hoodlums, so-called. In fact, these hoodlums, those who are called hoodlums during protest, are called thugs during election. And their promoters, we know their sponsors, we know their promoters. It was at that stage that became a free-for-all, particularly for the so-called hoodlums and thugs. And for me, once there is commitment on the part of the police to ensure that those who want to protest are guided, there should be no problem. Again, all of us will recall that we used to have protests in Ganifayimi Park in Ojota in Lagos and the Unity Fountain in Abuja. Unfortunately, the LCT administration and the Lagos state government sealed off both protest grounds, and that is why people have been going to the street. We do hope, just like they do in other countries, you have the IPAC in London, in Singapore, and many other places where we have designated places for people to protest. Because once it is recognized that you have the right to protest, then we have to work out a mechanism for ensuring that those protests take place. On behalf of my colleagues who are here, that we are not violent people, and we're not going to encourage violence as far as this protest is concerned. We are going to ensure that we have the numbers of your men and women who are going to monitor the protests all over the country so that we can be in touch with them if there is any problem. And this again we have done in the past.
I'm not trusted. Not only about money. In terms of action.
This one are concerning
So I would therefore want to say that we are going to ensure that we have the telephone number of your officers so that it's any problem. So this is what I want to say for now. I believe there are any of our colleagues that may want to chip in something. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Falana, SAN, the Honorable Inspector General of Police and the police hierarchy, we are glad to be in this meeting. And we have with us our leaders from the Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch, and Ikeja branch. And I also believe perhaps subsequently, as we go along, the president of the Nigerian Bar Association will also join us as we notify them of this meeting. In addition to what Mr. Falana has adumbrated, we have a template in this country when we have this kind of engagement, the interaction should be between the civil populace and the police alone. Since yesterday, we have had information of soldiers parading several streets of major cities in Nigeria. So many cases have been held where the courts have held that soldiers should not be deployed for civilian interaction in terms of civil engagement. So it's important for us to emphasize the need to avoid provocation on the part of the security agencies. That's why we are glad to be having this engagement with you, because that's how it should be. On no account we will have cause to witness the deployment of military men who will be unleashed on armed civilians. As Mr. Falana said earlier, this was the provocation of the 2020 experience, and we are appealing to you and urging you to work towards ensuring that we don't have that repeat performance. And that is why we have sent to you the various protest grounds so that we will be able to identify your men who will be deployed and assigned to cover those grounds. On our part, we assure you of peace, we assure you of tranquility, and ours is just to make our grievances known to the government in all the parts of the Federation where our people may gather. There is no intention for violence. There is no intention to disrupt the economic activities. We are all part of this country, and we're interested in the progress of this country. So we do not have any intention at all. If you see anybody doing anything in that regard, they are not our members, which is why we want to cooperate with you so that we can isolate those thugs and hoodlums that may be sponsored to give our people a bad name. But for this particular occasion, we assure you of our peace and cooperation at all levels. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to yield the floor to the NBA chairman, NBA Lagos and NBA Ikeja, and thereafter any of our colleagues that may want to make an intervention. Thank you, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, Honorable Inspector General of Police, and good afternoon, distinguished police officers here present. Good afternoon, Linear Sick, Mr. Femi Falana. I see Mr. Paponda, I see, and every other senior member of the bar here present. My mind is just to follow the wise counsel of Mr. Falana, ACN, and Mr. Adegboruwa, and there's been pockets of officers spotted here and there on the streets of Lagos. But I lend my voice by saying that the agenda is not to be unruly, but to claw on the hierarchy of the police to lend their support by way of protecting life and property during the exercise scheduled. That will be my intervention, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. IG, I think for the 3 minutes, so if there is any move to extend 3 minutes left.
Hello?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Honorable IG. Let us advocate Mr. Femi Falana and other senior advocates present. I adopt the already established protocols here. I align myself completely with what the learned senior advocate has said and what my brother chairman too has just told us at this meeting. Truly, we are seeing some policemen in some of our areas. I live around Alimosho here, and we could see some of them. I hope that they will not provoke these masses. I hope they will not provoke them. You know their ways. There's no attempt to disparage them, but you know some of them they are on the road already. So I would like the Honorable IG to please call his men to order so that these people are not provoked even before the protest. My own opinion, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we have just 2 minutes left.
Okay, if I can comment. If I can comment. Sir?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Dr. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, can I use 1 minute to also say something?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, 1:06, sir. The IG, thank you very much. Dr. Abiola Akiyode Afolabi, and I'm here representing a group called Women Manifesto. Well, it's important to know that women have suffered a lot in this hardship, and to also say that we are going to join the protest, but we want to call on you and your personnel, knowing fully what we suffered during the NSAS struggle, that women are going to be on the street, and that the police should be very civil, and we are peaceful people, just as it's been said earlier, and we should be protected against hoodlums that are sponsored to disrupt protests. I just think this is important to say. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And I can say this, in Ghana, I think it was 207. Ghana was marking its 50th anniversary. And there was a protest, going to be a protest by some civil society groups. The IG went to court to stop the protest because the protesters wanted to use the stadium where the government was expecting guests from all over the world. The court said, I am not going to stop them from protesting. All I can do is to ask them to go and protest in another part of Accra, but so that we don't embarrass her again. But the protest must take place. And that was what was done on that occasion. So those who want to protest for the government should be advised to allow these protests to go on without any violent clashes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I have taken note of that. But I want to tell you that I don't have a report of any sponsored group by government to come out same day that this protest has been slated. I also want to use this opportunity to alert our distinguished individuals that in the last NAS protest, we had a situation where falsehood was spread. So what I'm saying is that I want to use this opportunity to alert our distinguished individuals in this conference that fake news is also going to be used to fuel violence during this incoming protest. We have credible intelligence that some groups are going to be violent on that day, while your own group, I have no doubt, with the involvement of distinguished personalities in this, I have no doubt that this is going to be peaceful. But we run the danger of trouble when you have a group protesting on peaceful protest in one area and another group on violent protest in another area. It becomes very difficult for the police to manage the whole situation. And that is why I have always been advising groups that are saying that they want to come on peaceful protest to at least shelve it for now. If we have a situation where some groups are peaceful and some groups are violent, then misinformation will set in, like we witnessed during the NSAS protest. Before the supposedly peaceful NSAS protest became violent, we had situations where on social media there were falsehoods being spread about what has happened in some areas. The whole situations were reported negatively and based on falsehood. We had a situation in Surulere where some group attacked a police facility, killed one inspector and injured others. At that time, the police did not even respond. But what did we have? We have reports on social media saying that police have murdered, have killed, and all of that. Then before the incident of the toll gate happened. So we have to really be very careful if we are coming out for peaceful protest at this time. Well, I want to say that we have to be careful so that we don't have a situation, a repeat of what we had during the NSAS. As police, we recognize the rights of citizens to peaceful assembly and protest. And for your group that you have come up and you have assured us of your intention to stage peaceful protest and you are going to remain peaceful, I want to advise that we should try to shun the idea of going on procession on the day of protest. You have identified a point where you want to occupy to stage the protest. Please, let's all remain at that point. The police will be there to protect you. But where you now decide to go on procession, it might be difficult for us to guarantee safety. We have other intelligence that I will not be able to say right now on this platform. If you had come to my office, I would have been able to share all this with you. But they are not pleasant intelligence at our disposal. So I want to please plead with you that if you must come out, if it's compulsory that this protest must take place on the 1st of August, let us do it peacefully. Let us identify, let us restrict ourselves to those points where you have stated that you want to use to converge. The police will be there to protect you. Then with respect to the involvement of the military is not going to come out to provide security during this protest. The military will only come out when the situation gets out of hand. What happened during the NSAS? The military didn't just come out. We have forgotten that 5 police stations have been burnt down were burnt down in one day before the government of Lagos announced curfew. And that is how the military came into the scene. So if the situation does not go out of hands, the military will not be involved. So thank you.
Mr. IGP.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am Olawale Okuniyi of the United
Mr. Olawale, my hand was up and my hand has been up. Mr. Olawale.
The United Action Front of Civil Society. I'd like to quickly intervene to say that the IGP may have to talk to politicians who are already recruiting pro-government protesters, that they should divide it to another period. We cannot be having this at the same time. That is going to lead to confusion and conflict and crisis. So the IGP wanting peace, because one of the things that can make this degenerate into riots is where there are clashes of pro and anti-government policies. So they could have their own day. I remember immediately after the election was announced, the pro-government protester had a field day. So you will have to advise that they share it, not when an action has been fixed by some people to express their dissatisfaction to what is going on. So that is very key at this point. But we at the level of the civil society will also have to we are setting up some monitoring team to also see to what we call compliance on the part of security agents. We would also be itemizing them, and then even protesters, so that we can also inform the global community of what is going on. So we are setting up our monitoring at the level of organized civil society to assess compliance at the level of protesters and security agents. I thank you for listening.
If the Honorable IG will be pleased, some people have lifted up their hands to speak. If I can ask that the IG may recognize Opeyemi, Mr. Inebehe, and then Mr. Sawalu in that order. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Can you give that?
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Opeyemi. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Fantastic. My name is Opeyemi. And I just wanted to make a few comments. One is to reiterate that it is the role of the police to protect. So if the police has intelligence about the people that want to cause mayhem, why is the police not fishing them out and dealing with them? The language of the police since the beginning has been the fact that there's an assumption that the protest will be violent, and that has been the focus. It's just in the last 2 days that we come back and say, okay, people have a right to protest, the police will deploy people. And so the focus on violence and the fact that people want to be violent takes off the edge of people who actually just want to come out and express themselves. So while there is intelligence, my question to you, sir, is why is the intelligence not helping to fish out the people who want to cause mayhem? Number one. Number two, Mr. Falana said in his introductory remarks that it's the same people that we call hoodlums during protests that are thugs during elections. They are not unknown faces. People in communities have already started talking, particularly about APC members. I live in Lagos, who are already being mobilized. So they're not strangers. Whoever is J or W, could you mute yourself, please? If you're not speaking, please mute. They're already being mobilized and the conversations are already happening. Monies are changing hands. People are being told where to show up, what to do, and how to act. You talk about NSAS a lot in particular, and you keep talking about the violent nature. Violence did not start during the NSAS protest until politicians and government introduced violence. In Alausa, I was at Alausa when a busload of people were dropped and known to be party members. None of them were prosecuted. There was a gentleman whose picture was all over social media holding a machete. Till today, nothing has happened. In Abuja, brand new SUVs drop off people with machetes. Nothing happened. So we can't have all of that. And yet it is peaceful protesters that is the focus. Because when we've seen people unleash violence from police, in Lagos, I was one of the people that called the police when we began to see a breakdown, because a breakdown of law and order. The police told us that maybe you are the people who are protesting that you don't want police, deal with it yourself. That's what they told us. So when we have situations like that, why does it become the problem of citizens to protect themselves when it is the job of the police? So, sir, I would say, and thank you for giving us audience, but I would say that the language of the police must deal with the people the perpetrators, not focus on the people who want to have peaceful protests. And as you rightly said, and I quite agree with you, you're dealing with known entities. Mr. Falana is on the call, Mr. Adegboruwa is on the call. You're dealing with people that you know. But once a protest is called in a country that is going through a challenge, anybody and everybody can show up. That is not my problem, sir. Cannot be the problem of those that you know are the people organizing the protest. This date was announced 3-4 weeks ago. There's nothing the federal government of Nigeria has done to address the issues. Rather than engaging with the issues and engaging the challenges that have been laid clearly on the table, instead the government has made a big deal around the fact that protests want to happen. If there were no issues or if the demands were met, we wouldn't be on the streets. And so let's just put that in context as we engage over the next 2 days. The people who want to protest and are upstanding members of society expressing their constitutional rights will do so. And we ask that the police also do the work that it can using the intelligence that it has received to check the people who want to cause mayhem. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Okay. Thank you. With the kind permission of the IG, Mr. Inebehefield. Mr. IG, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
We appreciate the audience you've given us. I think it's part of the escalation process. I want to respectfully, sir, draw your attention to a video that has gone viral on social media in Lagos State showing a group of persons with megaphone going around in public places, particularly markets, and making express threats against those who are planning to protest. I want to know whether the IG's attention has been drawn to it or whether the IG will be kind enough to direct the CP of Lagos State to swing into action immediately and demonstrate that truly the police is committed to a peaceful protest by maybe using these individuals as scapegoats to get them into custody to deter any other person who may be planning to unleash mayhem on innocent protesters. Secondly, sir, you have made it clear and also said so advisedly that you would recommend that those who want to protest should be confined to a particular location. Do we take that, sir, to mean that any protest that is not in line with that will be disrupted by the police? I know that some people in the civil society do not have a problem with your recommendation, but I'm worried given the dimension of this protest, which is national in outlook. I know, for example, that even in some states in the north, I'm not even aware whether there are groups that have even reached out to your respectful self, sir. So does that mean that should anybody try to go or walk on the street or go outside locations that have been identified in the letter to you, that the police will disallow that protest? Lastly, sir, I want to respectfully plead with you that you also find it as an opportunity to register your name in history. We have had Inspector General of Police who have been in office before you, sir. And today, when we look back at their legacy, people are wondering the contributions they made to advance our democracy as a country. Politicians will mount enormous pressure on you, but I want to believe that you also want to leave a legacy, what you'll be reminded for, because for every innocent person that is killed, it will be remembered that it happened under your leadership. So I'm encouraging you, sir, please see this as an opportunity to leave a legacy that when I was Inspector General of Police, there was a national protest in Nigeria. And under my leadership, I was able to ensure that that protest was entirely peaceful. And people will recommend you for that. That is all I want to say, sir. Thank you. Thank you. With the kind permission of the IGP, Mr. Soyolu, that's the last one that is up for now. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, IG, and special appreciations to Mr. Enibe Young for that intervention, and specifically the question he asked with regards to other protesters who are outside the designated territories that have been mentioned by the IG. Because I would also assume, going by the previous state by Mr. Falana, that it is the duty of the police to protect protesters everywhere, and also maintain law and order, and also ensure that protests do not degenerate into violence. And at any rate, protesters have never been instigators of violence. During all through the answers, I was particularly at the Halausa barricades, and I know for sure that whatsoever violence that was recorded at that particular location, Halausa, were by hoodlums that were sponsored by government. And one of them is known, as a matter of fact, his name is Adegboruwa. It was the one Okoyemi was talking about. And on numerous occasions, the police have been attached to his picture holding machete, particularly by Prince Adejobi. Severally, we've tagged him to this picture. Until date, Adegboruwa walks free, despite leading various attacks against protesters and Alausa. So for me, I think that having established the fact that protest is our constitutional right as Nigerians, I think that it may be inappropriate for the police to attempt to confine us in a specific location. This is not to say that some of us do not agree to being to protesting in a specific location. After all, some of us were at the Alausa barricades during the NSAS protest, and we are there peacefully. But we also want to say that Nigerians have a right to rally. As a matter of fact, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, there are people, pro-government protesters, who rallied on the highland. Nobody stopped them. Nobody threatened them. It was not hijacked. The police was not even threatening that the protest was going to be hijacked. Their protest, they had a rally protesting against protest. I wonder how people protest against protest. So I think these are some of the stance that I think the police should reconsider, given the position of the constitution on freedom of assembly. I think for now this would be my contribution. I also want to add before I drop the mic. It is that so many persons, they are known faces, have been threatening violence and genocide, not just against protesters, but against an entire ethnic group on social media. We are not aware that the police have gone after these individuals. The police CPRO is very well aware of them, is active on social media. None of them have been arrested, but the only people the police have been arresting so far are people, ordinary Nigerians who are organizing for protests, who are posting flyers that they want to be part of a peaceful protest, especially in places like Sokoto, Kaduna, and Kano. We do not think this is fair, and I think that the police need to do more to respect the rights of protesters, both those who are protesting and those who are protesting against protest. I think none should be treated in a discriminatory way, as the police have been doing.
Thank you. Okay. The Learned Inspector General of Police, before your intervention, I just wanted to bring it to the notice of our comrades and colleagues on this call. Part of the reasons why we're having this engagement is to coordinate our actions. So it's going to be difficult to tell the police that we will not be coordinated in a particular location. We have already indicated to the police the various venues where we intend to converge. For the purpose of not allowing third parties and feed columnists to invade our midst, we don't want to give the impression that we will just gather in any location and then be responsible for what happens in places where we did not designate. So it's important that we understand that we were the one that suggested to the police to be able to have venues where we will converge, and the police will be there to offer us protection. And those venues will be updated as we approach August 1. So it's important for coordination that we streamline the protest mechanism to ensure that because of logistics and the number of policemen we have in Nigeria, it is better for us to have designated venues where we are sure we can work with the police for protection. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I listened to everyone that has spoken, and I want to say that I appreciate your contributions. I appreciate your concerns. And I want to say that with respect to focusing on groups that want to stage peaceful protest and leaving those ones that our intelligence has indicated that they are coming out for violent protest, I want to say clearly that we are not focusing on those who want to stage peaceful protest. Where it's only the letter, the notification of protest that was received by Adegboruwa that I have in my office, and because of that, I decided to invite you to a meeting so that we agree on how to conduct your peaceful protest. For those people who are threatening violence, most of them are faceless. Most of them remain faceless. But for those of them that we have been able to pick, to trace, we have picked some of them. They're already in our detention. We arrested one yesterday who was threatening violence, who was instigating people to go and burn down public places and burn down police stations. We have such in our custody. And we have not arrested anybody who is calling people to come out for peaceful protest. That is not true. And that's why I warned earlier of the danger of spread of fake news to fuel crisis during this protest. We have started seeing it. We have not arrested anybody calling out people for peaceful protest. Yet, it's already been reported that we are arresting them. The only suspect, the only people who have arrested are those calling for violence, openly calling for violence. We have arrested some of those ones. Others who have not arrested remain faceless. Then, with regard to your question on whether if you don't remain confined in a particular location for your protest, you want to go about procession, whether the police will disrupt it. I will say no, because the police remain committed to peaceful protest. But what I'm saying is that because of the intelligence at our disposal, it is not advisable for peaceful protesters to go on the streets at this particular period. We have had peaceful protests in the past, jointly organized with distinguished Nigerians. We have been getting guidelines from and getting counseling from our landed brother, my elder brother, Falana. He has been providing useful guidelines to us. And I want to appreciate him and others who have been supporting us to ensure that we don't have violence, we remain peaceful, even as we manage different protests. So we are committed to peaceful protest, just like we have done in the past. But at this particular period, it is not advised that we go on street procession. Because I've said earlier on that as you are mobilizing for peaceful protest, some are mobilizing for violent protests. We are doing our best to make sure that we check those ones. Then for the peaceful protesters, we are agreeing on the modalities to conduct the peaceful protest at this period. That is why I suggested that confining peaceful protesters to a particular location will help us a lot. And I want us to agree on that. I want us to agree on that. That on the day of protest, your group will be confined to those places that you have identified. And let us also agree that there will be no procession. Let us also agree on how to identify members of your group, because we have intelligence that fifth columnists are going to infiltrate the crowd of protesters. The other time, it was a marriage ceremony in Borno State that terror elements infiltrated and detonated a bomb. I mean, 3 bombs on the same day. So the terror elements are looking for where there will be crowds to wreak their havoc. We need to know the number of people that will be coming to assemble on the day you want to assemble. We need to know how we are going to identify them so that terror elements will not infiltrate your ranks and detonate suicide bomb after you have gathered. It's our duty as police to protect you, the peaceful protesters. It's also our duty to warn you, to help us to protect you. So I thank you.
Mr. Adegboruwa. Hello? Mr. Adegboruwa, please.
Yes, Mr. Okune, please go ahead.
Yes, I've just begun to hear some impossibilities here. To try and in trying to structure the protest. It may not be possible for organizers to say they won't be procession. I don't think that would be possible. But that procession will be guided. We can agree on that and will be protected. But that it will end up at a designated center. Those are things that we can agree on. But to say that there will not be procession and then we agree and then that gets...
it seems to, maybe your network, absolutely, yeah. Our letter to the Inspector General of Police indicated that there will be procession, but it will be guided. So, Mr. Okuni, I take your point.
Yes.
Your network is challenging, so...
Very challenging. Sorry about that. I'm in a place that is very remote. Sorry. But it is agreed here that there will be procession that will be guided. That's what what is noted. Thank you.
Surely our letter to the Inspector General of Police indicates that there will be procession, they will be guided in order to achieve peace during the procession. That's indicated in our letter. Thank you.
SAN.
Yes, Dr. Kiyode.
Yes, because I think that from what the IG is saying, he's talking about protests taking place in confined places and that they may not be able to guarantee. And I think it's important for him to clarify that. It will be very difficult, just like as Okuni said, and that's why I raised up my hand quickly, because what I'm hearing is that it's going to be confined. That may be very difficult. We can agree on routes. We can agree on where we are going to pass through the protest, but I don't think it's possible to confine protests to a location. That will be absolutely impossible, especially looking at how big Lagos is. So everybody cannot gather together. So I think it's important for us to have that clarification. And I guess that will be applicable to the whole country.
SAN, sir, please, Sir Ibrahim, I just wanted to quickly state something.
Okay, please do quick. We need to.
Yes, just a minute.
Latest for 5 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
We hope to round up this meeting by 5 o'clock.
I mean, it's I don't know. I feel like it's not great that we're in a meeting trying to discuss these issues and the police is still focusing on us, right? And it's a protest, a peaceful protest where everyone, it's a national protest. Different people are going to come in, telling us that you want to know the number of people we're expecting. I think that's just being very ludicrous. I mean, it can't be possible. We can't say we're expecting 5 people or 6 people. It's a national protest. People are going to come in, and the police, you're supposed to actually protect the peaceful protesters and watch out for these talks. But they putting all of the attention on us and trying to say trying to bring out every good we're doing or every bad we're doing, or trying to make the good we're doing to seem bad. It's very unfair. I feel like the attention should be on these talks and the people who are trying to cause mayhem. There is a video, there are faces. You can even watch that video and identify those people. That's just what I wanted to say.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We need to cap the meeting. I think that from the highlights of what we have discussed today, we are imploring the Inspector General of Police to focus on groups that are currently threatening hell and fire and brimstone. The videos are all circulating. They marched all over Lagos yesterday. The intelligence should be towards directing police attention towards arresting those people to ensure that they do not constitute a hindrance or nuisance to the events that will happen on August 1. We agreed to have designated locations for convergence, but our letter clearly indicates that we're going to have rallies, we're going to have processions, and we're going to have opportunities for people to make speeches on those days, but everything will be done peacefully, working hand in hand with the police. So I'm going to appeal to the Honorable Inspector General of Police to avail us the phone numbers of the officers who have been designated to assist us in those venues where we have indicated, and also to be able to work with them towards achieving a seamless outing. We are grateful for the assurances of the Inspector General of Police that this effort will receive support and protection for all peaceful protesters. We cannot give a number. We have invited all Nigerians to join us. But the point we make to everybody is that we are not involved in disruption or violence or destruction of property. Everybody on this call are all peaceful. And we intend to make that protest peaceful with the police assisting us to allow it to remain so. So we appeal to the IG to help us to focus on those groups that are currently threatening people so that we do not have a repeat of those incidences on August 1 or thereafter during our own protests. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I heard you. And it seems that my advice to the group was not taken. I advise that the group should hold their protest within a confined location, and that when you decide to go on procession or rallies, I might not be able to guarantee total security for your members. But if you identify a confined place where you are going to gather and stage your peaceful protest, we will make every arrangement, every security arrangement for you. I would also want to advise that.
Yes, I will take the point.
I also want to advise that if you want to go ahead with this protest, the way you have stated in your letter, please meet your commissioners of police. You indicated 8 locations, 8 states where you want to stage this protest. The IG will not be in all those 8 states at the same time. But we have commissioners of police in each of those states. Meet with them, tell the commissioners of police how you want to stage your peaceful protest. But as for me, I believe that a peaceful protest in a confined location will be very easy for the police to protect. But if you say you want to go on procession, you want to go around the whole city in during your peaceful protest, I advise against that. But please discuss it with your commissioner of police. If the commissioner of police has enough manpower to guarantee adequate protection for you while you go around the whole city, well, so be it. For as long as you remain peaceful, the police will be there with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I will continue to update you with other locations as we perfect our strategy, sir. We assure you that all of us who are on this call, we are used to procession, and we will guarantee that everything we do on those days will be peaceful. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Well, so, gentlemen, we have come to the end of this meeting. Thank you, Police PRO, Prince Olumiwa Adejobi. Thank you to all our comrades. I will thank the IGP for your time. Thank you, sir.